Hey everyone, Security Dave here. Today we're going to be talking about some cybersecurity news. Today's article comes from Vice and is about how a Avast antivirus product may be spying on your every internet move. So today's article comes from Vice.com with Motherboard and PC Mag. An antivirus program used by hundreds of millions of people around the world is selling highly sensitive web browsing data to many of the world's biggest companies, a joint venture by Motherboard and PC Mag has found. The report relies on leaked user data, contracts, and other company documents that show the sale of this data is both highly sensitive and in many cases supposed to remain confidential between the companies selling the data and clients purchasing it. The documents from a subsidiary of the antivirus giant Avast called Jumpshot shine new light on the secretive sale and supply chain of people's internet browsing histories. They show that the Avast antivirus program installed on a person's computer collects data, and that Jumpshot repackages it into various different products that are sold to many of the largest companies in the world. Some past, present, and potential clients include Google, Yelp, Microsoft, McKinsey, Pepsi, Home Depot, Condé Nast, Intuit, and many others. Some clients paid millions of dollars for products that include a so-called all-clicks feed, which can track users' behavior, clicks, and movements across websites in highly precise details. Avast claims to have more than 435 million active users per month, and Jumpshot says it has data from 100 million devices. Avast collects data from users that opt in and then provide to Jumpshot, but multiple Avast users told Motherboard that they were not aware Avast sold browsing data, raising questions on how informed that that consent is. The data obtained by Motherboard and PC Mag include Google searches, lookups for locations, and GPS coordinates on Google Maps, people's visiting company LinkedIn pages, particular YouTube videos, and even people visiting adult websites. It is possible to determine from the collected data what date and time the anonymized user visited these sites, and in some cases, what search terms they entered and which specific videos they watched. Although the data does not include personal information such as usernames, it still contains a wealth of specific browsing data, and experts say it could be possible to de-anonymize certain data. The internal product handbook says that device IDs do not change for each user, unless a user completely uninstalls and reinstalls the security software. Until recently, Avast was collecting the browsing data of its customers who had installed the company's browser plugin, which is designed to warn users of suspicious websites. Avast has since stopped sending browsing data collected by these extensions to Jumpshot, Avast said in a statement to Motherboard and PC Mag. However, the data collection is ongoing. The source and documents indicate. However, harvesting of information through software attached to the browser. Instead of that, Avast is going through the antivirus software itself. Last week, months after it was spotted using the browser extension to send data to Jumpshot, Avast began asking its existing free antivirus consumers to opt in to data collection, according to an internal document. So if you're using Avast, I would highly recommend looking through your installation and seeing, where if there is an opt-out feature, because they do collect every instance of your browsing on the web. So I downloaded Avast. I have a virtual machine here that I use for most of my recordings because I could take snapshots and roll things back. I certainly wouldn't install Avast after reading this article, but I looked through the Avast installer, and down here in their privacy section, it says at the very end here, I looked through the privacy policy first to see what this meant, but it also says you acknowledge that vendor or member of the vendor group may share data that is anonymized and aggregated with third parties for trend analytics. So their trend analytics, if you move over to their privacy policy, is, I had it here just a second, here we go. We have partnered with our subsidiary Jumpshot Inc. that uses stripped and de-identified data to build products and services that provide trend analytics for companies. For more information, please refer to our consent policy. In our consent policy, if you're jumping through all these legal mumbo-jumbo here, we have partnered with our subsidiary Jumpshot, which we provide with a stripped and de-identified data set derived and interpreted from your personal data coming from the free versions of our specific products, for the purpose of enabling Jumpshot to provide products and service based on your analytics. So if you use their product, you are the product, essentially. they're using you to build their products and selling them for multiple millions of dollars. I'll certainly include the link to the actual article so you can see, because this is quite a long article, and I kind of stripped it down so it was easier to read. But you can see the data source is, for instance, if you install their Avast Mobile Security or Avast Free Antivirus, those are the two products that are shown twice here, you can see what information they collect from you. So for instance, Avast Mobile Security here has mobile security for browser requests as the data source. They collect product version, approximate location. Why would they need your location data? Time information, together with stripped URLs and information related to the URLs site you visit. So they could even collect your mobile data. Any website that you visit or URL that you click on or URL that you visit. For Web Shield, for antivirus for desktop, they collect your product version, time information, URLs, and carefully selected aspects of certain pages without identifiers, which is what they claim, and selected requests. So, you could be shopping Amazon, you put something in your cart, and now they know that you put something in the cart, and your information could be sold to, a third party that you really didn't even know about unless you went through all these mumbo jumbo forms here. Browser cleanup of antivirus for desktop. It says they'll collect your time, the source browser, selected cookie domain, cookie value, or cookie name and cookie value, and that's on a cleanup for your browser or your browser cleanup. So if you clean up your cookies, they're going to collect the information that was in your cookies, it sounds like. And it says, we understand that you may not want your data to be used for trend analytics, and if that's your preference, we respect your choice. If you would like to withdraw your consent, you may choose to opt out in your product settings at any time. So I'm going to go ahead and install Avast with everything except this Avast secure browser, because that refers you back to the same privacy policy. If you're using their Avast secure browser, you're certainly getting watched while you're on the internet. So I don't know how long this is going to take. I may speed up the install here, but if you're using Avast, you may want to consider a different antivirus product. Possibly you may want to pay for an antivirus product, or I certainly always recommend using the built-in Windows product. If you're using Windows 10, it is pretty good for what it's, for what you're paying for it, which is nothing. I would certainly recommend Windows Defender over something that's going to be completely spying on you all the time. I can't say for certain that's not happening with Windows Defender, because Windows is certainly looking at a lot of what you're doing, but let's let this finish installing. All right, so I'm back. I paused the recording while this finished installing, and I got to the second step here where it says, mind sharing some data with us? If you allow it, we'll provide our subsidiary Jumpshot Inc. with a stripped and de-identified data set derived from your browsing history for the purpose of enabling Jumpshot to analyze markets and business trends and gather other valuable insights. I guess it does ask you at least. You know what, I'm going to say, let's go with I agree for now. I can always roll this back. Let's see if there's, we'll see if there's a way to, within the software, to actually turn off that consent. Now it says I'm going to run my first virus scan. I'm going to stop this because this computer has just about nothing on it at all. And let's see if there is a settings for privacy here. Settings. Let's try in here. Personal privacy. All right, so if you have installed Avast and you want to keep Avast, you may check this section within General Settings, Personal Privacy, to make sure that these two are disabled. I don't know. I hit agree, and this one's already unchecked, so I'm a little concerned because this sounds like the exactly what they were asking for. Allow usage of data to be shared with third parties for analysis of trends, business, and marketing. So I don't know how much I trust that it's actually off, but that's where you would check. So just as a an FYI, come into your general settings here, under menu, settings, and then personal privacy, and make sure that these two, the middle two, or the middle one and the bottom one, are both unchecked to make sure that you're not sharing that information. Now, they claim to have 100 million, they have 100 million devices that they're collecting information from. So, even if you're unchecked, you may kind of wonder, are they still collecting data? We don't know. I would just, if you really want to keep Avast, either pay for it and maybe you won't be included in this, or just uninstall it. I don't know. I can't recommend keeping it on your computer because that feels really creepy to me, just reading this article. So I'll include the article. You can take a look at some of the exact examples that they've provided, such as how much they were selling the data for, and some more kind of examples of the data they were collecting. So just take a look. Thank you for joining me today and learning about how Avast Free Antivirus may be watching your every online move. If you have suggestions for video topics, please leave me a comment below or email me directly. If you like these videos, please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you again.